Sorry for the interruption there. All right, so yeah, okay, so we just did this grounding meditation, clearing through. Now, as we're in our center, and we've just given ourselves so much love and appreciation for all the ways that we do and be every day. Taking a few more breaths to reconnect with that. Yeah, and so from this place of presence that we've just cultivated, I invite you to start to just look at your life for a moment and really ask yourself, is there something that I want to shift as we move into this next year? You know, these cycles of the years give us an opportunity to reflect and to plant seeds for what it is that we're wanting to create. So I ask you to get clear in yourself, like, what is it that I want to grow in this next year? What is my vision for the next cycle of my life? Does that have to do with your home? Does it have to do with your finances? Does it have to do with your health? Does it have to do with a partnership or family? Or what is it that you'd love to see shift that would help, you know, you really feel like you're living, you're in alignment with your dream and your purpose and just how you want to be here on the earth? You know, let's just keep it like the short term of like this next year. You know, we can go further down the road and say, what's our vision for 5 years from now? But for now, we're just going to keep it really close in. And yeah, so I know there are some people who are just arriving. Welcome to everyone who's just arriving. We're in the midst of a meditation. We've been grounding and clearing and cultivating self-love here and appreciation. And now we've also been asking the question of what we want to see shift in our lives and what we're seeing in this next year, whether it's whatever realm of our life. And so for those of you who've just arrived, you may not have gotten a chance to come in, but for those of you who've been here, I want to invite each of us we're just going to do a moment of here community connection as we come into this present space again and open our eyes and see each other. To speak very briefly, just to say your name. A lot of you haven't met each other yet. And I'm really grateful that you're all here. You know, there's a handful of people on the call today who it's been a while since you've plugged in, and I just really appreciate, you know, that you're here. I mean, it's great to see you again, and yeah, feel your presence. So I know a lot of us have been, you know, going through a lot. So if you weren't here for the meditation, no worries. But if you have a clear vision of like what it is, I want to invite you to say your name and say, like, if you can, like 3 to 5 words that just encapsulate what it is that you're wanting to shift and what you're seeing, you know, calling in for this next chapter. And this is just a reminder, this is connected to our why. Like, what is it that we're wanting to shift? And after this, you know, we'll go into like how Purium can support that. But so I'm Leah, and really grounding into home in myself and in physical space. A nurturing sanctuary home is a really big aspect for me as my family is growing. So yeah. All right, so I invite everyone to just come off mute, and then everyone's going to call on the next person. So we're going to try to do this as like efficiently as possible. So I'm going to call on Zachary.
Hi everyone, I'm Zachary, and the things I want to work on are self-love, self-trust, and overall health, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Those are the things I want to work on the most.
Beautiful.
And I will call on Emma.
Hi, I'm Emma, and I call in a new home environment, and a lot of love and forgiveness in this next year.
Beautiful. Who do you call?
I call in Angela.
Hi, everyone. I'm Angela, and I am calling in my ability to nurture myself, my family, my home life, and my business as well. And I'm just really calling in that nurturing spirit and that nurturing power that I really am hoping to unleash further in the coming year. And I will call upon Leela.
Hi, I'm Leela. What came to me in the meditation actually is play. So I feel like this coming year, I want to cultivate more play. So yeah, that goes along with kind of self-care and like spaciousness, you know. So finding a way to better manage my time so I can make time for play, I think is probably the idea. And let's see, I will call on Chandalin.
Hello, hi everyone, I'm Chandalin. And I'm sorry I had to step out. I got a call from my daughter's school real quick. So we're sharing what we're calling in. Is that?
Yeah, like your vision for the next year of what you're wanting to cultivate and create.
Okay, yes, I'm really focusing a lot of energy in cultivating my business, lots of aspects of my business, different parts of my business. And yeah, that's it.
Beautiful. Can you call on somebody?
Yes, Alexis.
Hello, I'm Alexis. I'm calling in self-love and trust my ability to support myself and my family, as well as the nurturing energy to be able to nurture myself and my family, my business, and all the things. And I call on Carol.
Hey everyone, this is Carol. Thanks, Alexis. In this year, I am tuning to the flow of joy and flow in general, flow in prosperity, flow in joy, flow in sensuality, and gaining clarity in my ways that I show up in service in the world. And I am going to call on Allie and your sweet baby.
Thank you. I'm Allie, and I am wanting to really be present for my family, and just to give 100% to them and being home. And that's what I'm calling in. And I call on Nellie.
Hi, everybody. I'm Neely. I jumped in a little late, but I'm pretty sure I think I know what we're talking about. And I'm looking to bring in, I've got to level up. I need to elevate myself. I'm dealing with a heavy sense of loss and a lot of change. So I'm looking to elevate myself out of this pit of self-pity and find balance in my life and stop taking on other people's shit. And I call on, oh gosh, who hasn't, Ruth? Has Ruth spoken?
No, she hasn't yet.
All right, Ruth? Maybe? Ruth, are you there? Okay, let me call on someone else.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Angela, have you spoken?
Angela spoke. How about Christy? Can you hear us? Are you there?
Okay, Ruth and Christy, I'm not getting. Okay.
Okay. That's okay. I think everyone else.
I think everyone else has spoken.
Yeah. So Christy's in Europe, and maybe Ruth needed to. Christy's probably multitasking, putting her baby to bed and being on the call.
All right.
She's over in Portugal. All right. Well, whenever they come back in, if they want to speak to it. So hold on one second. I'm going to tell Christina when to come in. She's going to come for about 10 minutes here. So, you know, the next question, thank you all for sharing that and for engaging in that meditation and, you know, just following the journey with me and with yourself. And so the next question is like, how can Purium support this vision that you have on whatever level that you're feeling it? Is there a way? And so I want to invite you to come back in and just feel into that and say like, is Purium part of this path for me? Is it a vehicle toward this? And if that feels like a yes, great. And if it feels like, yeah, it's part of it, that's still like, yes, it's part of that. And I assume that because you're here on this call, that you see Purium as being part of the pathway toward the home, toward nurturing, toward supporting your business, toward elevation, toward you know, your emotional well-being, towards supporting you to be home with your family, you know, all of those things like all of the support that we have and that Purium can offer. And so just again, you know, at the beginning of each month is this opportunity for us to reconnect with why are we here? Why did we choose to say yes to the path of Purium, and what does Purium offer us as a community, as a path of wellness, as a path of financial, you know, change that can happen in our life, as a path of something that is in, you know, a really different business model than just trying to make it all on our own. Like we can see right now, we have this whole community that we're connected to, and how can we receive, you know, and how can we actually like be nourished by being here, and then how can it serve us in, like Leela said, like in being in service to the world, being in service to our families, being in service to ourselves and our self-care. So all of these levels. And so I want to invite you, if you haven't yet, to print out your action plan or to write it out. And again, remind yourself at the beginning of each month, like, what am I doing here? What is my why? What is my vision for my life? And how does Purium specifically support it? How do I see this as part of the vehicle for that? And then, you know, in your vision statement, we get to elucidate and expand on that. So if you haven't yet done your action plan and your vision statement, it's really like, if you can see it as a practice for reconnecting with yourself more than like, oh, I have homework and I don't want to do this thing, you know, but like, okay, how do I create a sacred space around this? Because it's actually about my life, you know, and about what I'm wanting to create in my life. Oh, thanks, Neely. Yeah, and just really using it as an opportunity and an invitation for you, you know. And so I know that sometimes I'm like, oh, I have to put this thing up so that I show up, and you know, but I'm like, okay, how do I shift that mentality to be like, this is about me reconnecting with myself and like what I'm wanting to cultivate in my life and create, and then see how Purium is part of that and can be part of that. So I invite you to do that. And if you need support on that, we're not going to do that on this call today, but reach out to me. And maybe if, you know, you can also look in our Bliss Ohana business page to see the format of how other people have done it, and then do it. And it doesn't have to be very long, you know, but it's sweet to create a ritual time around that at the beginning of each month. And what I'm going to speak to on this call are some of the things that are happening this month. And a lot of us who are on this call, myself included, as you all know, like the past months, you may not have felt me as much. And I've been really consumed with a lot of things beyond being pregnant. There's been a lot going on in my life. And I know that a lot of us are in transitions of different sorts, and just feeling, as I opened with, like a lot of what's happening in the world, maybe, you know, and some people maybe are more really centered and solid, and that's a beautiful place. And that's where I'm like, as I said in my meditation, like finding that home and center within more and more, so that I can move from that place. So, but this month, as we're coming into the end, there is this opportunity that Purium is offering for each of us to really be able to share these gifts, invite other people into our community, whether you're inviting them for their health and well-being, or you're inviting them to become part of this community and create the shift in their life for their own financial reality or for their families. And this month, there's like a lot of gifts. You know, this is a time of a lot of gifting. So Purium's gifting a lot of free points that I'm going to speak about, and also what the upcoming invitations are for group resets that we can invite people into. And there are a couple other pieces that I think Christina's going to bring in, some of the like rank declaration and Diamond Dash stuff. But I'm going to speak more to like, what are the ways to move this forward and grow this once you've reconnected with like, yes, this is something I can see supporting me in this vision that I have for my life in the way of well-being and all of these things. So yeah, and I want to take it like step by step because I know I need a reset. How should I start? Yeah, well, let's talk about what that reset means. Like all of us are resetting, right? There's an opportunity, like we said at the beginning, at the new year for like, okay, what am I resetting into this year? And so there's the opportunity for us to look at that and like consider what is it that I'm wanting to reset, right? So I think first I'll speak to some of the groups that are coming up that we have the opportunity to invite people into. And these are also opportunities to invite people into the business and say, hey, we've got this thing going on and you can invite other people to join us. You know, as we're at the new year, a lot of people are feeling this like self-reflection time. I don't know how many people do it, but people are always setting New Year's intentions, right? And so it's like, it's a cultural tradition to kind of reflect and look at what do I want to create in the next year. And so in that time, we're offering, our group of leaders are really offering a Renew You reset. And so this is going to be starting on January 10th. And it's, I was on the call the other day. If you were, I'm going to send out the link to the replay if I didn't already on the Thrive Alive thread. All of our leaders are going to be offering really amazing support and, you know, recipes, and Christina's going to be talking about soil science, and there's going to be yoga, and there's going to be playlists, and there's going to be sound healing, and, you know, a lot of what we've done as a smaller group, but this is going to be like a community wide within like Sarah's team, you know, that we all are part of. And so it's going to be really big. There's going to be a lot of people involved, and it's an opportunity to invite people into something to support them as we go in, and support you with a reset as we go into this new year for, okay, start the year with this reset that happens on these physical, emotional levels from how we're nurturing ourselves with these superfoods and with these herbs. And so that's one opportunity, is to invite people in as participants, and also to speak to people like, who, you know, I'm going to be taking part in this. I thought you might want to share it with people. You know, are you interested in this? Is it something that like you're feeling drawn to? And then to share that as a business opportunity as well for people who are practitioners. And like, I have people on my team who aren't here who are wanting to do that, you know, I know with their communities. And so it's an opportunity to speak to people and say, hey, like, I'm curious what your plans are. So like I wrote in the Thrive Alive thread, like, here are questions you can ask on your stories or in your posts or in your conversations, like what we did at the beginning, like, what's your vision for your life in 2022? You know, like, what are you wanting to see shift? And if people are speaking to anything, like, and you all spoke to such a range of what you're wanting to create in your life, and to engage in these conversations of like, how do you see that happening? You know, what's your pathway for that? And if people are wanting to have growth or wanting to have health or wanting to like find a home, you know, and be able to like buy a home or support their family from home and not have to go to work, whatever it is that people are asking is like, well, how are you creating that? You know, and we have this gift, right? So just asking questions, finding out what people are already doing, and then saying, hey, you know, I thought this might resonate with you. Like, based on what I'm hearing you say, like, I'm involved in something that's been, you know, that I know, here's my dream. And I found something that I am really excited about that's going to support me in creating this. And maybe it would resonate for you, you know, and we're actually doing this New Year health reset. And so it's an opportunity to open up conversations with people, check in with people, ask these questions like, wow, it's the end of 2021. How's this year been for you? What are you envisioning for the next year? So that's one offering, is the Renew You, and a lot of details are going to be coming on that. So please stay tuned in with the Thrive Alive thread, because all of the, you know, there's a page with all of the facilitators, and they're going to be sharing what they're all offering. And one of the ways that we're supporting this is having a mini marathon. And so the mini marathon is, for those of you who've done it before, it's an invitation to contact 30 people, open up 30 conversations in 3 days, or open up 50 conversations in 5 days. And we just put that out as a number for like, start a lot of conversations, plant a bunch of seeds, see where people are at. It gives you an opportunity to follow up with people who you've been in conversation with before, or to start new conversations. And those conversations don't look like, hey, do you want to do this New Year reset with me? They can, but they can just look like, hey, how have you been? Like, I've been thinking about you. And it depends on the person. It depends on how you want to bring it through, but it's an opportunity to network, to connect, and see what grows from there. And then know that we have something to offer people as a pathway. So similar to that, here's an opportunity that we haven't picked the start date yet, but I think you all know I'm 20 weeks pregnant, and I've been in conversation. I found myself in conversation with, I'm going to be 46 when I have this child. We did IVF, and so I've been in conversation with other women who are about to go through IVF, and with doulas and midwives. And I was like, I want to create a group that's specifically for postpartum, pregnancy, and preconception, and supporting people who are in this field. And also what I've found is it's enabled me to start to share the business opportunity with more birth workers, lactation consultants, doulas, midwives, people who are doing more spiritual work around womb health and birthing. And so I'm in the process of bringing together the group of facilitators for this, who are people on my team, and I'm going to reach cross team also, but we're going to have a group that is specifically supporting people who are in like fertility, pregnancy, and postpartum. And that also targets it where like Renew You is for anybody in any stage of life, whatever gender, whatever, anything. And then there's going to be a more focused group that'll start, I think, a little bit later in the month, so that we're not promoting, so it doesn't feel divided. But I'm going to check in with a couple of my co-facilitators here to see what we think is a good date. But just have that in the back of your mind for conversations to start with people, pregnancy, birthing, breastfeeding, and also to prepare oneself for conception or for motherhood, whether that's through IVF, through natural conception, through surrogacy, how to get in the best shape that we can for that. Because I do believe that my IVF was successful on the first try because my system is in so much balance. I've seen so many women go through IVF transfers over and over again who had pre-existing imbalances in their body and couldn't receive the embryo. And I deeply believe that I received this embryo so well, partially because I'm in such good shape and my endocrine system is actually healthy. So I'm wanting to help people get in a better position for implantation, in addition to pregnancy and postpartum. So that's just something to hold in the back of your mind, as that's going to be a group that we're going to be also bringing out, and it'll be more intimate. But start to think, who do I know who's in that world? Who do I know and postpartum can be 10 years later. Leela, had been full-time mom for 10 years, and she was like, whoa, I've been exhausted for 10 years and I didn't even realize it. Like, postpartum is a very long time until you get yourself back into balance. So it really is for and the postpartum includes like mamas, period, who need nourishment, right? So just starting to think, who are people who work in that realm? And really for me, it's been like, okay, who can I share this business with? Who are people who have a network of clients that aren't working with nutrition? Like, I know so many midwives don't have a nutritional protocol. They're just like, okay, make bone broth. Great. But what beyond that? Leela and I spoke with a midwife of ours, and who was Leela's midwife. I ended up being in Hawaii for birthing, but she said, and she's an amazing, 40 years of midwifery, but she doesn't have a nutritional protocol. And same with a midwife who lives down the street from me. She just is like, wow, I haven't had something to give people. I'm really excited that I really have something now I can offer people. So just recognizing that a lot of people who are birth workers don't have a lot of information and references for people who are in pregnancy and postpartum beyond just eat whole foods, right? And then we've all learned eating whole foods doesn't actually give us that nutrient concentration that we need, and it still has toxic residues and all of that. So yeah, Neely, your son's 22 and you're still exhausted. I know it's a lifelong journey. So we all need it, and mamas definitely need it. So that's another group that's going to be coming up to speak to. And then, so I'm going to bring in Christina because she only has 10 minutes. And then we'll see what she covers, and then I'll cover the rest of whatever she doesn't. So, hi, Christina, welcome.
Hi, welcome.
Thanks for being here.
Good to see all of you faces.
So we were just talking about, we did a meditation and we visioned into 2022 and connected with how Purium supports us in these visions. And then we're just getting into, just talking about action plan, vision statement. And then we were talking about just the Renew You reset, and then the women's one that I'm going to be launching. And so I haven't gotten into like any of the other details. So I invite you to bring whatever you're going to bring, and then I'll fill in whatever you might not touch on, you know, after you go. So thanks for being here for as long as you can be.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe like give me on, thanks Neely. Let me open my chat here. Yeah, it's really nice to see everybody's faces here as well. And maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, give me your, like where you're at in connection with your why. Like how on a scale of 1 to 10, how closely do you feel connected and activated and fueled by your why right now in this moment? Obviously that can change. I'm so glad I can be a source of entertainment. Okay, cool. So we have quite a spectrum here. Everything from 3 to 10 as far as, so it's good. It's a good, you know, take stock, like where are we at, to notice, because that's going to inform everything, right? So what we're wanting to get out of that is all about this relationship right here, how closely we're woven into and connected to our why. And I always say, you know, Purium isn't the only path to our why. If you found something better, let me know. But for me, it always was. It was like the best. It is the most efficient, pleasurable, community-centered, heart-centered, value-aligned path. So whenever I could realign with that and then connect with my why, it was just like go from there, you know? And so if anybody's in that place of, well, I've been wanting it, but I feel stuck or held back, that's always the first place to start. And you probably did some meditations on that already. So there is having our why, and then there's just noticing like, well, how closely are we really allowing it to fuel us? So that's why I was asking that question. And when we get clear that we're connected in and we want, or maybe we're clear we're not yet connected in, oh, I haven't really been journaling my why, I haven't really been visualizing, I haven't actually been holding the capacity that I'm capable of achieving that, so I've just been pushing it aside, right? That totally happens. And then we just start to settle and get comfortable and like, oh, you know what, my life's good enough the way it is. Drop a 1 if you've ever had that. And just like, it's good enough. Like, why should I be asking for more? Like, I'm fine, you know? Isn't it all about acceptance and just gratitude for what is, right? Like, all that can come up, and that's real. And yeah, that's all being felt. And then it's like, and for me, I always tap into my legacy. It's like, well, who am I doing this for beyond my own comfort? Sure, life is good enough. Of course it's good enough. It's like full of blessings. And what more is possible, right? I just get into that space of like, well, if I could leave an impact that could make the kinds of changes that I would have loved to inherit, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I step into that? If I'm comfortable, then there's room to expand into overflow and more and all of that. So that's what we can step into, is if we're also feeling stuck, like maybe either getting deeper into the personal why, making sure that we're aligned and connected with a why that's, you know, for a while my why was so big. It was like, oh, build a farm, build a farm, build a farm. And then I was like, oh my God, we don't even have like a functioning house. Like, let me just shrink it down to like the basics. Like, can I not have to go out in the pouring storm, take a shit? That was like when I finally realized like my baseline, I wasn't even focusing on like zone one. So sometimes we need to get into our why of like, what's going to make my nervous system relaxed on a daily basis? What's going to make like love making with my husband like possible and pleasurable and safe and joyful, you know, like just basics, right? And then beyond that, maybe it does have to expand. Okay, if I'm comfortable and all of the basics are being met, I want to like leave more of an impression on my life and on the planet, and how I want to be remembered by and contribute and give back for all the blessings and privilege that I benefit from. So it can go either way. It can go like deeper into the root, or it can go into like, how can I blossom? When we want to get unstuck, that's how we can work with the why. And then once we get to that place where we feel fully aligned and activated by it, then it's like, okay, well then what do I do? And then it's like the formula is all set for us, right? So we have this month, we have our 4 promotions that corporates rolled out. So every single person here should be getting at least, I have yet to find out, do we have 500 or 600 in Widen Your Reach this month? Because there are technically 5 weeks. I'm waiting to hear back. But we know that at least we can get 500 free points. So like nobody here should be leaving those on the table. And then we all have teams, right? So who out there can we reach out to and say, hey, this is an amazing month to run, but I totally get it if you don't feel like running. But hey, I'm feeling like this is my month. And if there's anything you could do to support me, getting those 500 points for yourself would super help me out. So like, look at your Widen Your Reach landscape for your month. Like, how many people can you get on board now, not at the end of the month, right? Because then it's too late to get them all, of saying like, hey, can you, like, would you be open to doing this just to support me? I feel like this is a month where it's really gonna make a difference. And in any case, I know that it's the only month this is available, or has been for a long time, or will be. So maximizing your personal Widen Your Reach and your team's Widen Your Reach. And then we have UBT, like 100 points for every single ULT with a smart order. That's amazing. We don't even have to wait to get 3. But if we do get 3, then we get 800 points in the week. So that's incredible. So those are 2 promotions. And then the third is declaring. Has everybody here, drop a 1 if you've declared, drop a 2 if you have yet to declare. There is a deadline for that. I believe it's the 10th. I'm not 100% sure on that, but like making sure, because that's free points and cash. And they haven't, at least this morning when I had checked, they hadn't yet updated last month's rank declaration. So if anybody here got that will boost your points for this month. So that's exciting. So rank declaration is something, I'm not going to get too deep into it here, but it's kind of like we do our business posts in the Facebook group. Corporate has a link where it takes 30 seconds and you declare the rank that you're going for this month. You can either be re-ranking or ranking up, or catching up to a rank you haven't ranked in a while, but you had in the past. Any of those 3, if you hit it this month, you'll get points from a pool of like hundreds of thousands of points, plus a cash raffle, or maybe it's cash dispersed. I think it's a raffle probably. Anyways, there's points and cash available for just saying, I'm going to do this. And then of course, the real benefit is it's just an incentive to do what we want to do, which is really like stand in what we're declaring we're going to achieve this month. So, yeah, make sure that you hit that rank declaration link. Maybe Leah can find it and drop it in the chat here. And then the fourth one is Diamond Dash. So this is the last month that they're offering an additional bonus for ranking Diamond. And there's a matching bonus. And this is even if you're out of your fast start window. So if you're somebody who's been like going for Diamond, like this is the month that you want to make it happen to get those additional bonuses and matching bonuses. So those are the 4 corporate. And then as Leah said, there's these other New Year's transformations. So all of this together is the formula for this to be like an amazing month. And, you know, you always hear Leslie say, people think, oh, you can't really do much in the holidays. And, you know, you get into that place of, oh, but everybody's just not wanting to be bothered for the holidays. They don't want to talk about business, blah, blah, blah. Like, number one thing you can do is to help yourself overcome that fear, and also to become fluent in handling common holiday objections. Fortunately, on Wednesday's action and accountability call that I lead, me and my crown leaders will be role playing how to fluently overcome common holiday objections. So don't miss that call. In fact, if you are running for a goal, that you want to have that call in your calendar every Wednesday. That's where you're going to get the most coaching from me. You can ask your personal questions. We have live coaching. And it's just where I deliver like all week long when I'm like, okay, what does my team need to hear? I'm like, okay, Wednesday call. That's where you get my juice and my gold. I'm not even doing like the superfood social trainings as much. I didn't even sign up for one this month. Like the Wednesday call is like my main portal. So you want to make it to that. And then the last thing I want to add in this like little trail of breadcrumbs to your goal, right? The last piece in this formula, this like plug and play formula, like if you do all these things, you're going to get there, is the upcoming mini marathon. So Leela already kickstarted us off, and so did Lisa Holtz, of saying like, I'm just going to do my own mini marathon last weekend. But as a whole team, we're going to do it this coming up Thursday through Sunday. You choose 30 in 3 days or 50 in 5 days. We're primarily going to be inviting people to the first Renew You info call. So it'll be just like, go big, like everybody wants to renew themselves for the new year. That's like the whole thing, right? This is like the time of year to send that message. Hey, you're probably already thinking about how you want to jumpstart 2000, whatever next year is, 22. And I just wanted to let you know, I am so inspired by what my community is putting forth. And it would be amazing to have you as my guest to learn more about what this is. Right, you can send that out to hundreds of people. So mini marathon, the pro tip is to voice memo people this week, as make your list fast, voice memo people to set up appointments. So when the mini marathon comes, you're already in appointment time talking to those people. That's pretty much what I got. Thank you.
Thanks, Christina. Great to have you here. Thanks so much for popping in.
Yeah, and I just want to say I love this team. So I'm really excited to see all of you here, and, you know, and working together too is I'm available for you, you know, just reaching out, bringing connect calls, all of that. This is how we do what we do. And feel free to communicate with threads that include me. And if I don't, you know, respond, just like knock again, like reach, you know, specifically. And I appreciate people who advocate for their own business by being persistent.
Awesome. Thanks, love.
Thank you, Leah.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool. So I love that. The idea of also with the widen your reach, since this is an opportunity that doesn't come around often, of like, I know that there's partners who have been inactive. I don't know, some of us, Alexis, Leela, Chandalin, I know we all have people in our downline. And that idea of saying like, just, hey, are you open to doing this? And inviting people into the Renew You info calls and, going for that widen your reach, because those 500 points added up from anyone who's been an inactive partner are going to help move a rank forward for you, even if they're not really, and then who knows what's going to come for them, and just saying, hey, you never know what's going to happen, but there are people who we want to share this gift with, right? And so whether it's education about, hey, like if you have something specific that you like to bring around holiday foods, or if there's something around like, more education or entertainment, or, these are the things where like having fun with our widen your reach. And then also speaking to like the same questions that I brought forward earlier of like, what are your visions for 2022? And like, do you have a vision for health, and like putting that in your stories and even speaking to it. And that can all just include, and that's like reaching out to people and saying, what's your vision for them? And then saying, hey, are you open to doing this for, to support me, and also to support anyone who might be looking for something and doesn't even know where to find it. You might be able to change somebody's life. And reminding people that we have that power to change people's lives. Like I've definitely had like a lot of people through my years here be so grateful. Like, thank you so much. I just had a friend come over the other day, and she was like, I just want to say thank you so much. Like I'm feeling so much better in my body, and I feel completely different in the way I'm feeling about myself, and like the way my clothes are fitting, and just like I feel so much more vibrant. And whenever I have people come up to me, I'm like, oh, amazing, great. I'm changing somebody's life just by sharing what I have to share. So remembering that we have that ability to really help people, and that then can nourish us back of knowing that we're a gift, and I know that that is a core like human desire, is to feel like we're here for a contribution. So I just want to open up, see if anyone has any questions, because I think Christina covered what I was going to cover, which was the widen your reach, the rank declaration. I need to declare my rank. I hadn't done that yet, so if you haven't, no worries. The UBT, does anyone not understand what any of these terms mean and have any questions before we, come into closing? I just want to open it up and see if I can answer any questions. All right, and so the mini marathon, just going out now and making a list. And again, like Christina said, like this is really just inviting people, come learn more about this Renew You. So we have what we're specifically inviting people to with this mini marathon is to invite people to come and join and just learn more about what it is that we're offering in this next year, or in this next month for January. And then calls. Yeah, the Wednesday call is really awesome. A lot of the calls throughout the week are like the leaders speak and we're just listening, but this call is really interactive. It's very community focused, and Christina and the other Rita and Carrie and Mary Beth are offering such incredible coaching and really breaking it down in ways that isn't done on the other calls. So if like you have to choose between calls, I'd say the Wednesday and Thursday calls are both such amazing calls at 1 o'clock. And if you can't make that, the Leslie call on Tuesday nights is really awesome. And just try to make it, even if you're just plugging back in, there's so much that inspiration and ideas that come through on these calls, to at least just plug into at least 1 or 2 calls a week, because this is not a business that we can do on our own. We get lost in all the fullness of life. And every time I plug into a call, I'm reminded of the gift that we have, and I get inspired, and makes me, be able to take that inspiration and then channel it through and bring it to other people. Otherwise, we're like self-generating, and it doesn't really work very well to self-generate all the time. We have to like be receiving the collective wisdom and energy to flow through us. Otherwise, we're like stuck in our own whatever comes up, So I just want to really encourage you to step in and come to those calls, even if, whatever you're washing dishes, doing the laundry, whatever you need to do, but to be there, to bring your presence and remember what it is that we have here, so that, as you're moving toward this vision that we all spoke to at the beginning of the call for 2022, that you're able to reconnect with like, oh yeah, and this is part of it. This is part of what I want to create, and this is what I can offer to other people. So thank you all for being here today. Again, if you have any questions or want to reach out to me, like please do personally. I'm always available to set up time for a free health consult with anybody, or a business consult, or if you're in conversation with someone, you're like, I don't know what link to send, you know, you can reach out to me. In our replays, there's tons of links to amazing calls, and there's just so many resources. So yeah, that's it. And I'll keep you on the Team Thrive Alive. Just keep posted in. I'm going to keep posting things there that are reviews and things to keep checking in with, so that you also, that's a great place for community support and connection and knowing what's coming down the line. Okay, thank you. Have a beautiful day. And I look forward to being in more connection with everybody this month and beyond, and putting the word out there for who, if you also feel really inspired to be a facilitator for this pregnancy, postpartum, pre-conception group, and you want to facilitate something, please let me know, because I would love to invite in any of you as facilitators, because that also empowers you to say, I'm offering this and I'd love to share it with you. So yeah. All right, beautiful. Have a great day, everybody. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. All right, I'm gonna stop the recording here. Awesome.